Hello everyone, I'm Niiniifc and this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing you guys another Q&A live stream. So thank you for everyone that's come on. Good to see everyone's here. Hey Josh, hey Andrew, hey Dex, CFC Anuj, how's everyone doing? Yes, Shamaki, what are you saying, man? You good? Good that everyone's here. CFC Anuj, you have any exclusive news on Sari or the latest video that is the last info still? Yeah, the latest, I mean, the last video I did is still the latest news. I mean, there isn't anything new on top of that, to be honest. Again, of course, I've heard about, some reports of Hussein not wanting to leave. I'm not surprised with that. Of course, there's some early reports coming out today stating that we've agreed a deal worth 4 million for Sari, which I don't believe as well. So again, until I double check everything, and until I've heard from obviously my source, that's when I'll start to obviously disclose that type of stuff with you guys. But at this moment in time, everything is still the same. There isn't anything new at this moment in time. So yeah. Love Island. Yeah, obviously I knew that everyone's watching Love Island, so I thought this is why it's normally on at 10 o'clock. It seems to be the best time to have a stream on. But yeah, you guys, good to see everyone, and yeah, I'm gonna start answering some questions now. You guys, you know what the deal is. Of course, if you wanna just support the channel, or if you want your question prioritized, send a super chat. Nothing big. It can be 50p, it can be £1, but yeah, everything plays a part. But obviously, yeah, Brian, just saw a report about Donnarumma and Morata. Yeah, I'm going to do that in tomorrow's video, so obviously just wait for that. Andrew Fernie, Nini, what do you think about us doing a swap for Donnarumma and Morata? Again, I'm going to be speaking about that in tomorrow's video. Obviously, I see all the news and all the reports. I do need to keep up to date with everything happening surrounding Chelsea. So yeah, you guys, I'm always up to date with everything. But like I said, I liked my videos to have enough, information within them. I mean, I could have just released a quick 4-minute video, but I don't like to do it like that. So that's why I'm saving that stuff for tomorrow instead. Misha, what do you think of Torreira to Arsenal? Of course, Torreira, Sampdoria midfield player. You agreeing? Yeah, it seems like the type of midfield player they need. Obviously, can play in a 3, can play in a 2, especially. It seems like Arsenal will probably persist with playing with a 2-man midfield. Torreira does have good, he's got decent work rate. He's not the strongest, even though he is a bit tenacious in his tackle, just like to get involved in a 50-50. He's not particularly the strongest guy, but again, he starts a lot of attacks, especially his long direct passes. And when you've got someone like Aubameyang up front, and he can run on the end of them, you can see why Arsenal are trying to seal this deal. But yeah, this is a Chelsea channel, not an Arsenal one. But yeah, CFC Ivan, hi man, how are you? Yeah, Sean Kenner, Nini, how are you, man? Quick question. Wondering if you hear anything in regards to, yeah, I know about the news with Lisbon. Of course, if you guys don't know what's happening just yet, a lot of players have left the club. Bas Dost, Podence, or potentially, I don't know how you say his name. The manager's left. He's actually gone to the Middle East already. And of course, Gelson Martins, Bruno Fernandes, William Carvalho. They've all left. I mean, it's been a complete travesty at Sporting Lisbon. I mean, a lot of these guys that are left are worth a lot of money for them, and it seems to be all their best players that are leaving as well. Of course, if you guys don't know what's happened, it's been down to the president. Obviously, what's his name? Carvalho. He is a bit of a controversial figure. He is very, he's very heated. Obviously, he was criticising a lot of players individually online, and criticising a lot of the whole team in general after their loss to Atletico Madrid in the Europa League. And from then on, what happened after that was the Sporting Lisbon ultras started to attack the players during the training session. They messed up the whole dressing room, just really causing a lot of damage. Obviously using poles and belts, and the players are thinking, you've indirectly allowed these guys to feel that they could do this because of how you've been attacking the team. You haven't really had our backs. You haven't been defending us, and a lot of these players aren't feeling safe anymore now. So this is why so many people have handed in their contracts. They've left on the free, and again, you've got to protect the players. I'm sorry, this is why we watch football. It's about the players. So it's very interesting. Bruno Fernandes, he had like 100 million release clause. This guy is like a Kevin De Bruyne-esque type of player, you know, amazing long shots, can play a pass in. He's one of those midfielders that Sarri would like because he's able to attack the spaces and break the lines, meaning that obviously he will be comfortable, you know, moving forward and pushing into space. So it's definitely going to be something interesting. How I see it happening though, if you're Bruno Fernandes, William Carvalho, you're waiting till after the World Cup before you start to sort out your, you know, your futures. I mean, of course, they're already with the, you know, Portugal are in Russia already. The World Cup's starting in a few days now. They don't really have any time to sort their futures out. And of course, playing for Portugal, if they do very well, you can expect a lot of clubs to be interested in these guys. And Bruno Fernandes is definitely an interesting one. I mean, you know how Marina is. If he's available on a free, and Gelson Martins as well, you know, someone that could fight for a position on the right hand side, very skillful, very direct. I think he's a much better version of Juan Cuadrado. Definitely players that we can be keeping our eyes on and looking at, in my opinion. And especially, I mean, again, if we got, let's say we got Bruno Fernandes and Gelson Martins, that would be pretty good business because, again, the only thing I'd hope is that we did sell a lot of the squad players and just replace them, you know. Arian Tharman, who could be our second central midfielder along Kante? We're going to be using a 3-man midfield. I have been speaking about that quite a lot, so it won't be a 2-man system. So, I mean, the 2 midfielders I see will be Ruben and whoever we sign to play in midfield. Peter, hey, what's the latest development about Conte and transfer target news, Seri Nice? Again, everything that again, all my videos are up to date. You guys, you should know me. Whenever I'm hearing anything first, you definitely know that it's going to be on the channel before anyone else. There's nothing coming out at this moment in time. Even all the reports, and I was speaking about how you know, a possible player stops on the cards. That's something they're talking about now. Alfredo Padula speaks about that later on. Didn't really add much context in his article, so really there isn't anything happening just yet. You guys just need to be patient. And in regards to Nice with Seri, that's something I'll speak about as I keep hearing more. I have heard some things, but again, it's not enough for a video. You guys know I like to get into detail. You know, I like to have a lot to talk about. So yeah, you guys have to wait on that one. Bara Kabani, do you think Sarri will get done and become the manager? Now, again, it's only for my opinion, so I don't want anyone to be like, oh, you promised me that Sarri's coming. Again, Bara's asking me my opinion. Do I think we'll get Sarri done? I personally feel that it will get resolved because negotiations are going on for so long. As I've been seeing, you know, all my information is very accurate and very up to date in my videos. ADL De Laurentiis, he does want to get this deal sorted. So again, there's no way in hell that you're gonna put, you know, you're gonna keep, you know, continuing these conversations and these negotiations if nothing's gonna happen. Because you guys, you know, if this deal wasn't gonna happen, it would have ended a long time ago, and we'd have a manager by now already. So that's definitely something to feel confident about. Okay, other questions to ask. You guys remember, if you're a Patreon subscriber, I'll be able to, you know, obviously I'll answer your questions. So don't forget that if you're a Patreon subscriber, and, you know, just remember, you can send your questions in. Okay, other questions to ask. You guys, I'm going to be on for an hour tonight. Major General N'Golo Kante. Yeah. Okay. Jesse Farrell, please keep Conte. Lunt Banzi, Louise won't leave. Again, I was making that point in the last video. Why would he want to leave? You know, he's got that new restaurant venture. Would he want to leave London for Napoli? You know, Chelsea is a better club compared to Napoli. It would be very audacious and ambitious from Napoli's part. Imran Abdi, Roman out in 2 years. I don't know why you're saying that. No one, I mean, let's stop with something. You guys know my channel. I try to stress, you know, you know, I go against having these like reactionary opinions and, you know, reactionary this, reactionary that. We should definitely be. It's good to see all sides, to be honest. Is that a super chat? The pro reviewer, appreciate that super chat, man. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate that, man. Thanks. Your question is, yo Nini, long time no see. Yeah, it's been a while. What do you think our first signing would be, or who would you want us to sign first? Well, at this moment in time, again, I don't have as much information on this just yet. I've only been hearing a few things. If I had to place a bet on who I think could be the first signing, I would have to say that I think Seri might be the first signing. I think that Caballero is going to be announced. Obviously, he has agreed a new contract that's going to be announced soon. I think that Seri will be the first signing that we do announce. But again, as I said, I don't have all the information just yet. Of course, I have been hearing some positives in regards to the the Seri deal, which I will speak about. But I want to have much more context so I can paint a much more vivid picture when I do release that video on Seri. But the small things I'm hearing so far is that things have been looking positive with Seri. So I think based on compared to all the other guys we're linked with, I think that he's our most likely bet at being our first choice signing. Okay, and again, bro, thank you for that super chat, man. It means a lot. Josh Banks, why do people want Roman out? Do you not remember us? What he's done for us? The man has taken us from a 4th place club to the best in England in the past 15 years. Of course. And this is what I'm saying about being reactionary. Too often, opinions shouldn't always be based on reactions. It should be based on objectivity. You look at the positives, the negatives, then you look at the whole picture. That's how you base an opinion. That's what I try my best to do every single time. Musa Dombia, Salut. Dennis Kika, my dad had lunch with Sari because they're both Albanian. I'd have some info, but I don't have anyone to tell. Andrew Salmon could have a midfield 3 of Azpilicueta, Kante and Seri. But a lot of people have asked me about Aspi playing in midfield. I don't see that happening. I mean, Aspi is good defensively, but he isn't technically the best. This is why I always felt comparisons with Philip Lahm were very premature. Very, very premature, because Aspi, I mean, again, when it comes to playing out from the back, just from the short passes, not his long passes to Morata, he does clock in the lowest pass completion rate compared to all the other defenders he plays with. How often do we see him lose the ball in his own half as well? He does do that quite a lot. I don't think he has the technical capacity really to play in midfield. Especially if you're playing in a in a Sarri system potentially. Our midfield will be clocking in more than 1,000 passes for everyone. Can Azpilicueta influence the game and clock in more than 1,000 passes in midfield? I'm not too sure, to be honest. I don't think he can. And again, I think that's more like FIFA stuff. In FIFA, you play the game. You only look at your midfield in terms of who can run and who has stamina. In real life, it's not like that. Robser could see Fernandes as a Fabregas replacement and perfect since Sarri likes to rotate his midfield with top quality. Yep, I agree. And again, Sarri likes his midfielders to attack the spaces, break the lines as well. That's something that Bruno Fernandes does do. As I said, if I was to compare him, not in terms of exact quality, but in terms of style, stylistically, he is a Kevin De Bruyne-esque type of player. So he would easily complement Sarri's system. Wendy, hello Wendy. Nini, you looking to buy FIFA 19? Possibly. I haven't been playing as much FIFA, to be honest. I have kind of not been too fussed with the game in a way. It does get a bit repetitive and boring, but I've got to see what they're playing with the gameplay. That's what pisses me off the most. Gameplay gets kind of boring. Okay. Rizwan Khan, Lamar rumors to us. Lucas Herrera was good. Now, Lamar has agreed I think a non-verbal agreement with Atletico Madrid. So it looks like he will be signing for them. Ollie, yes, Ollie, you good? Only if Sarri thinks he can. Okay. Anthony Martial, hope Willian stays at Chelsea. Again, you guys, I keep saying Willian in the middle on the left. You see his natural position. You can see what he can do. It's going to be interesting with him. Okay. Any other super chats? Daniel Butt, thank you for the super chat, man. But you forgot to put your question in there. Sorry about that. Hopefully I can find your question. If not, sorry. And you guys, if anyone does send a super chat, remember you do need to double check to make sure you have typed in your question, because otherwise you can make you can make a mistake, make an accident, and I can't answer it. Undercover Tommy, Donnarumma to Chelsea. Be talking about that tomorrow. Okay, CFC Anuj, Nini, Sarri will revolutionise the Premier League. Yep, I think so. It'll be very positive, I say this point all the time, really, to win the league. You have to be better than the than the bottom 15, 16 teams in the league. And when you play that type of football that Sarri encourages, and it's his philosophy, of course, that's the type of football that those bottom 15, 16 teams don't like to play against. A lot of times they will be forced to defend, stay in their own half. They will struggle a lot from creating counter-attacking opportunities, and that was one of the main reasons as to why Man City won the league, because again, tactically, they already had the tactical advantage over most of the opposition due to how they were setting up, not really closing Man City down or pressing high. And I think with Sarri coming, a lot of the clubs in the Premier League will have to rethink how to beat Chelsea. Chelsea have been synonymous with this counter-attacking style, as we've seen last season. Teams pressing us high and stopping our wing-backs getting forwards, just to say things very quickly. With Sarri, it's going to be a completely different style of football, and that's where we're going to have an advantage against a lot of teams, because they won't know how to stop us or how to close us down. So this is what I mean, and I think with this potential arrival, it's going to be very positive for our chances next season. Okay, James Berisic. Will Van Ginkel stay personally? I think he is more than capable. I don't think so. I think with some other midfield players we have, I think the club will be looking to cash in on him. Ollie Glanville. Yes, Ollie. As soon as we announce Sarri, everything will look rosy. Yes, 100%. More chances, naturally more goals. Exactly. Of course, naturally, most of our players will be playing in the opposition half and not in our own half. So that's going to play a massive difference. As I keep saying, imagine Hazard with 30 more touches in a game. Imagine our attacking players with more touches in the opposition half. That's only going to mean that our strikers get more opportunities on goal, which has been one thing that our strikers have been struggling with over the years. Getting those consistent chances on goal. Too often strikers will get 2 chances a game if they're lucky. It's not consistent enough, and it's no surprise why our guys aren't getting more than 25 or 30 goals a season. Okay. Marlon Lopez, appreciate that, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. Your question is, do you think Zielinski will come with Sarri? Now, with Zielinski, I don't see why we would sign him. We've got Ruben there. Of course, with developments with Lisbon, meaning that Bruno Fernandes could potentially be available on a free, I think that kind of negates the point of needing Zielinski. I think really Ruben negates the point of needing Zielinski in midfield. I think that's a lot of press talk. Me personally, I haven't really been hearing too much in regards to Sarri demanding players from Napoli. He hasn't been demanding anything. I mean, the club have already spoken to him about transfer targets and positions, etc., etc. He's given his blessing. I don't see us really signing any Napoli player unless it's part of a deal for Sarri. But Zielinski, I don't think is the way forward. I don't think he's going to add much. Yes, he's a good player, but he's not a first team player at Napoli. And I think that, last season we should have learnt our lessons as fans, signing players that weren't upgrading the team. I think Zielinski could be a good squad option, but I don't think he's the first team material we need to really take our midfield to another level. Okay, what other questions? Oh, I got a few. But anyway, Marlon Lopez, thank you, bro, for supporting. CFC Anuj, thank you for that super chat, man. Sky Sports reporting that we're in talks with Savic, the defender from Savic from Atletico Madrid. Again, I'm not too sure about that. But again, thank you for that super chat, man. Brian does things. Thank you, bro, for this super chat. Means a lot. With the possibility of Luiz, Aspie, and Cahill missing out on a first team role next season, who do you think will be our captain on the pitch? Now, that is a very, very good question. Again, with this type of question, it does, I do have to bring up a lot of hypotheticals. I think one reality we have to realize and remember is that these guys need to have a pre-season with Sarri first. That's when we can get a better, clearer understanding of who's going to be captain or not, who's going to be staying, who's going to be playing, etc., etc. I can't imagine why Sarri wouldn't be a fan of David Luiz. He's one of the best ball-playing defenders in the world. Left foot, right foot. I'd probably say technically he is the best ball-playing defender out of the rest, to be honest. I don't know. I think Luiz still has a chance for next season. Aspie's an interesting one. Could he be used on the left? Will he be used in defence? I'm not too sure. Sorry does like to have a bit of height with his defenders, especially as it's only a 2. And, you know, he plays with a very, very high line as well. Interesting. Cahill, I'm not too sure about Cahill, to be honest, if he is going to be here. I think out of all those 3 players, I'd probably go with Aspie for now, purely because he's a vice captain already. Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know. I personally feel Luis is our captain. Whenever he's played, he leads the defense. He leads the team. Very vocal. He's a warrior on the pitch as well. You know, I've realised too, that especially that season where we won the league, players look better playing with him, and I think that's always a sign of a top class defender. Because again, defending isn't just defensive abilities. It's about how you communicate, how you lead the line, how you control your back four, how you communicate with the midfield and your goalkeeper. There's a lot that goes into that, and that's one thing that Luis was doing very well that season we won the league. And let's be serious, the guy has had an injury. He should be fit in time during pre-season. He's got a massive possibility as well. So I mean, it's a bit of a snowflake answer, I know, but I think it's either Luis or Aspie that could retain that captaincy. Okay, other questions. Okay, Romario White, big up, bro. You're the best. Watching your show. Hey, thanks for that, man. Appreciate the love. Will Rayner. Yep, I got Patreons are slowing up now. Okay, what other questions? Katsuma Nini, do you think Ruben will start at the World Cup because he should? I think there's a massive possibility that he will. Obviously, that game against Costa Rica, setting that assist up for Rashford, 100% pass completion. Amazing at turning, defense into attack. Doesn't lose the ball. Links up with the play very well in the final third. We have been seeing that Southgate has been experimenting with like a 3-5-2 at times, meaning that, of course, Ruben can play that box-to-box role where he can join up, further forward. I do think that Ruben will be playing. I think reports stating that Southgate isn't looking to use 2 defensive midfielders. He's looking to use 1, and he wants to have 2 midfielders alongside him. So, for example, let's say that's Henderson playing DM, which he does at Liverpool. You have the 2 other players supporting him, and let's say it's Ruben, Delfor, Milner, etc., etc. I think it's a massive possibility to play, to be honest. Okay, let me answer some Patreon questions. Oh, Elijah Howard, thank you for subscribing on Patreon, man. Appreciate that, means a lot. I'm going to answer some Patreon questions now. Will Rayner, literally breaking out. Cabas Solker says we're trying to sign Savic from, of course, the defender Savic. He was at Man City before from Atletico Madrid. Surely pointless. PS, finished my GCSEs now, bro, so should be free for a sub call-in. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be the subscriber call-in show, so I'll see you tomorrow for that. Savic is definitely interesting news, of course. I haven't heard anything. I mean, again, I'll tell you, my source hasn't been hearing any new news surrounding what's happening with Sarri, so things literally are in lockdown mode at Chelsea right now. Nothing's really coming out at this moment in time, which is the most exciting piece of news, to be honest, because that means that things are getting sorted, things are getting finalized. So I mean, this week, again, as we keep hearing all the time, it looks like things are slowly starting to wrap up now. But Kaba Sokol, obviously, I think he's that Sky Sports guy, right? I'm not too sure. We're trying to sign Savic from Madrid. It does seem extremely pointless, but it depends on who's leaving, who's going, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. I'll ask around if there's any credibility to that, but I'm not too sure about Savic. He's definitely not needed. Definitely not needed. Josh Banks, when do you think our new manager will be announced? Either Sarri or Blanc? As I've been saying, again, I personally feel it will be Sarri based on how long negotiations are. And I can't set a timeline. I mean, educated guess, hopefully by the end of this week. As I said, things are in lockdown mode right now. Now, before, obviously, I've said this quite a lot, but I've been still hearing info on what's been happening. Right now, I haven't been hearing anything in regards to any developments or what's been happening now. And I think that's why that's pretty exciting. I mean, you're looking in the press as well. They're not releasing anything because nothing is coming out. And normally when this happens, it means that, shit is getting done. Things are happening. So fingers crossed that means that, this deal is going to be sorted out soon. And Elijah Howard, again, thank you for subscribing on Patreon. You can send me questions through Patreon. As I said, if anyone is a Patreon subscriber, send your questions through and I will answer them. So remember that if you can hear me. Okay. Osei Barachi, Conte Stain, Snickers Me. What do you think about our pace during this transfer window? Again, the pace is going to pick up a lot once the manager is finalised. So I don't understand why people keep worrying about why we haven't signed anyone. I mean, we should look at our situation. We should be understanding the context right now. The manager hasn't been sorted. So you can't do business until that happens. I mean, if you're a player, you want to know who the manager is going to be. You're not going to commit to Chelsea unless you know what's going to happen. So again, when I released that Seri video, when I released that personality profile, it says in his personality profile that he's someone that he wants to play good football at a club. He likes to obviously understand what his role in place is going to be. He does like to talk to managers beforehand to get an understanding. This was why he picked Nice over Lille, for example, because obviously when he spoke to Claude Puel, obviously he told him why Nice was the best place for him, and obviously it paid off because he's been one of the best midfielders in Ligue 1, and this is why every big club wants him. Tiggs, I feel like Zuma will leave. Just have a feeling. Yeah, there's a possibility that Zuma could be leaving. Yeah, there's a possibility that could be happening from what I've been hearing so far. But at the same time, this is why I want to release the video, because I can explain greater context. I can explain the scenarios, and it's much better for me to do it like that. Callum Ross, Nini, thoughts on Scott Brown coming to Chelsea? You talking about the guy from Celtic? Okay. Nutriman, we need to get rid of Baka, Drinkwater, Zappa, and Pedro. Yep, I agree. Okay. Daniel Butt. Okay, finally. Nini, what do you think of Tovan? Wouldn't he be a great signing for our right-hand side? As I said, he is someone that has been looked into. I think I disclosed that in a recent video too. We are looking to sign someone on the right that can cut inside. Tovan has been on the short list as a candidate. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. Zaki Mahmood, my guy. Nini, what's happening with Bailey? Any news? That video is going to be coming out on Friday. As I said, it's a long one. I mean it. I mean, all the info I have, I mean, it's just been a pain us writing this whole script and obviously structuring everything properly, So that will be coming this week. Let me scroll up any questions I missed. Misella later. And bro, obviously, I know I've completely butchered your name, but I want to say, obviously, thank you for always, supporting what I do and always, backing stuff all the time. I really appreciate that. You don't even have to do it, but I appreciate the sentiment, man. What would Sarri's appointment mean for Giroud? Now, I think Giroud will be accepting more of a backup role. With Giroud, sometimes I feel it's good to have players of his dimension in the squad at times because he provides something different. I mean, with Giroud, you're not expecting him to play 60 games a season, but if he comes off the bench for, I don't know, 25, 30 of them and provides something in the final 20 minutes, I mean, who knows? I mean, with Giroud, obviously, I still stand by what I said. I didn't really feel he was necessarily needed, even though he did pick up form in the final 5 games of the season. But I think with what he showed in those final games, I have changed my tune a tiny bit, and I think that in terms of being a squad player, he gets on very well with a lot of the players already. I would keep him as a backup striker to have, and especially as he's a target man. He knows the league. He's great at holding the ball up. I think he could definitely be useful in certain games next season. Okay. Pavan, why aren't Chelsea looking into Ousmane Dembele? In my opinion, a higher ceiling than Bailey and again, this is what I mean by the reality. We need to have some type of reality anytime we're giving thoughts and opinions on football. It's not FIFA, it's not Football Manager. Barcelona spent a lot of money on Ousmane Dembele. he's not a guy they're just looking to get rid of immediately. You know, he's definitely a project. They understood that when they forked out that crazy amount of money for him. I don't think Usman won't be available in the window. And yeah, I wouldn't even be thinking about Usman Dembele if I'm being honest. I mean, think about it like this: if you were to sign him, how much are you going to sign him for? Do you think Barca are going to sell him for less than what they paid for? Of course not. You'd have to pay a lot more, and there'd be a premium because obviously he's in the World Cup, and he's one of the best young players in Europe right now. So again, that is way too fantasy. I'm not gonna lie, man. Other questions to ask. Okay, Abdul Aminu, did you see Hazard's performance? Yes, against Costa Rica, and I've been telling you guys on this channel a lot. Martinez, with how he's using Hazard, he's been amazing. I mean, it's not the first time. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys this. We already know how Hazard does during the international break. I think that he's going to be decisive in the World Cup. I think that now he's got this much more offensive role. I mean, it's looking. I mean, with Hazard, one of the reasons as to why I think he's one of the best players on this planet, he has that rare ability where he makes the teams he plays for much better. You notice everyone passes much better. Everyone's much more fluid. It just makes sense of the whole play. You know what I mean? And he's gonna be very dangerous this World Cup. He's definitely one of the standouts for me, in my opinion. Donal, Nini, do you think we should look for Shaqiri? He would be a great option, I think, for right wing. He's still only 26 and they should get him cheap. Now, with Shaqiri, I see this guy as a squad depth player. I think if you're signing him in context of being a squad depth, then yeah, I'd agree. But I don't think Chelsea need to start wasting their time on any more squad depth players. We need to start signing upgrade players for the first team. I'm stressing this all the time. Shaqiri isn't an upgrade player. He's not going to be someone that's going to get us 15 goals a season and 15 assists. That won't be happening. It makes sense why Liverpool are looking at him because, of course, Salah's playing on the right. No way in hell Shaqiri's playing over Salah. Liverpool need squad depth. They need backup. I mean, look in the final against Madrid. Once Salah went off, their whole team was messed up then. They couldn't play 4-3-3. Firmino and Mane had to play up front together, and that allowed Madrid's fullbacks to get forward. We don't need to be looking at guys like Shaqiri unless we have signed our upgrade players for the first team, and we're replacing squad depth for other squad depth. But again, that sounds like something that Marina would probably like, to be honest. Alpha, hey Nini, Bean, yeah, appreciate that, bro. Thanks. If I subscribe on Patreon, will you make a cutout of Giroud? And whoa, that is some madness right there. Nah, I don't twerk for anyone, bro. So I probably wouldn't be doing that. Adam Young, thought there was 3 years and prior. Okay, I think I missed that. Frank, Damaso thinks we will keep Conte. Okay then, yeah. Okay. What other questions are there? Shedrack Ugo, what do you think about signing Florenzi? He's a perfect right back we need. Again, I say this all the time, and I think that until I do a video on Moses, no one's really gonna understand my point of view about where I'm coming from. I mean, the stats, if you even check the stats, they even kind of support and back it in a way. The past 2 seasons, Moses has been outperforming Florenzi. It's just the stats show it as well. Now, Florenzi, as I said in my video, because I put a lot of time in making these, I write scripts, I do my research. I'm not like the other channels that will just get their camera out and start talking shit. You know what I mean? I'm saying that with Florenzi, his crossing is amazing. It is very good, but when it comes to his defensive contribution, it's not really as good compared to Moses. A lot of 50-50s he misses out on. But even then, I kind of feel that, the main point I was stressing in that video, Roma play a 4-3-3, a fluid 4-3-3, where the fullbacks can attack. They are told to push forward, as we've seen with Kolarov and Florenzi, or Perez if he plays there, etc., etc. This is why, he has that license to show what he can do. Obviously, Moses and Alonso haven't been afforded that license. Alonso has been afforded that much more compared to Moses because he was allowed to get inside the opposition box last season. But Moses hasn't really been able to do that. But as we've seen during the past few games, especially when Hazard was playing a lot on the right-hand side as well, you could see a much more effective Victor Moses. And there's tactical reasons as to why he was much more effective. That's because space was made for him where he can go 1v1. That's because there was a guy in the half space that was commanding the attention of the opposition fullback and defender. And Moses had time and space to bomb forward, get inside the box, etc., etc. And it's good to understand the context. Now, a lot of people keep talking to me about Florenzi, but let's just be, if you had to be 1,000,000% honest with yourself, unless you're, if you're from Italy and let's say Roma's your main team, Chelsea's your second team or whatever, or Roma's even your second team, I feel pretty confident that most people haven't really watched Florenzi at all before they're making their opinions. I just kind of feel, I don't know, it's that positive reinforcement. You've heard good things about him. You haven't really seen his game. You don't really understand his weaknesses and his strengths. But because obviously he's got a reputation, that's why, automatically he's much better than what we have. I do think that, people should maybe do a bit of their own personal research if they want. But I personally feel that Florenzi isn't an upgrade over Moses. If you wanted to sign him to be competition, you could. But I feel that full right back is the last area we need strengthening in. I mean, Aspie can play there, and we've got Dujon, Sterling, and Reece James. So Florenzi really isn't the guy that we need right now. And one thing I'm always stressing all the time. Last year, the reason why we fucked up so much is because we kept focusing on too many players at once. This season is best for us to focus on 3 or 4 targets. That's it. We don't need to start signing 7 players like we did. We signed like more than 10 players during the summer and during January. So Florenzi isn't going to be someone that's going to upgrade the right hand side. So again, as I'm saying, I really don't think people are really watching Florenzi like they think they are. Gregory, Nini, please, what do you think about our transfer? This Abramovich problem, and I mean, that's a lot of questions, so I'm not going to be answering all of them because that is a lot. Again, with our transfer window, it's going to pick up once the manager situation has been finalised and sorted. Common sense, of course, because, you're not going to, players want to know who they're going to be playing for. In regards to Abramovich, again, of course, the reports of someone trying to buy the club for $2 billion. No way are we selling that. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of very important assets that Chelsea have, and I mean, it's not going to be too long until we're a powerhouse financially. I mean, the deals we're getting secure. I'm hearing of one deal that's going to be finalised soon with a massive tech company from Asia. There's so many positives happening right now. The loan army makes how much money as well, and we're looking to get rid of these, some certain players on very high. Again, we're not a poor club. We're not in any bad financial situations, so Roman isn't going to be selling. Tutis Prolo Nini, what youngster or Loney do you think will impress Sarri in pre-season? Well, there's 4 guys I'd like to see what Sarri does, or how he views them. Those 4 guys for me are Ruben, Jada Silva, Boga, and Mason Mount. I'd like to see what he thinks of those guys, and they're my guys, to be honest. You guys, I'm going to be on for 20 more minutes. So, okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Diobi, Nini. I love us to get Ndombele from Lyon. He looks insane, reminds me a bit of Essien. Yep. I know Joe Tweedy, massive fan of him as well. Big reputation, obviously. I think Lyon just didn't they finalise his signature not too long ago? Yeah, very interesting type of player. I think, me personally, I think before I was to invest in Ndombele, I think you need to spend another season or 2 at Lyon first. He is very young. I think you should target this guy when he's 22, 23. So he's got very high potential. We've had a history of dealing with Lyon. We do have good relationships with them. So it's definitely one to look for. Kostas. Oops, I think I just missed it. Kostas. What about Marek Hamsik for CM? He wants to leave Napoli and we can get him in a deal with Sarri. But I think there's talks of China. I think the only reason as to why he wants to leave Napoli for China is because he is getting older. And you can imagine that the money that they're offering is just out of this world. I mean, let's be serious. That's how Chinese clubs are able to attract the players they do get. I don't think we'd be able to compete with Hamsik financially if that is the case. I mean, with Hamsik, he's good. I kind of feel with his early reputation, obviously when he was signed from Brescia, seen as the new Lampard, I don't think he's necessarily fulfilled that. He is a good player, but I think there's other midfield players that we could target that would be better for the team, in my opinion. Okay, other questions. Okay. Josh Banks from Patreon. Assuming we sign our main targets, what would be your starting 11 in the Europa League next season? That is a very really putting me on the spot with that question. I guess Europa League. I mean, we can afford to use B Tech teams in the Europa League, especially during the group stage. There's no way in hell we're not qualifying from the group stage in the Europa League, and no one tell me otherwise. I guess Caballero will get more game time. Whoever's sort of the first team in defence, maybe I don't know. I mean, it's literally too hard to really answer that type of question. I mean, I'm expecting some youth to play. If Hudson-Odoi's here, I'm sure he'll be playing and starting in games like that. If Mason Mount stays, I'm sure he'd start. If Berger stays, I'm sure he'd start as well. But again, I don't even know what the first team is looking like just yet. So it's a bit too strong of a hypothetical, to be honest. And I don't want to be here for like 10 minutes trying to do everything. But thank you for the question, though. Thanks. Moving on. You guys, I'm on for 18 more minutes before I keep it moving. Okay. Arvi, Nini, who would be your wild cards that will be in the Chelsea squads? Wild card from where? Nutriman, Thomas Lamar's at Atletico. Yeah. Even Green Black, Nini, please answer this question. What is the goalie situation? And if Courtois to leave, who would you sign? Well, again, I have spoken about it in my videos. A lot of questions I do get, it seems to be people either that haven't seen my videos or are completely forgotten. I mean, I do go into a lot of detail, bro. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I have explained that a lot. I kind of feel that I do repeat my same points on videos a bit too much in these streams. Again, with Courtois, he said it himself. He wants to see after the World Cup. Of course, when the manager situation is sorted, we can finalise and talk. I did disclose, though, that if a massive bid was made from a club for Courtois, Chelsea would consider selling, but he isn't a priority to sell. I mean, again, the circumstances would have to happen, which I've explained it in much greater detail in that goalkeeper video. So, if you do want to watch it, bro, I'd recommend you watch my, my goalkeeping video to get the full scoop on what's happening. Adam Young, why till January? What's your logic? We have lost the title on 3 occasions with poor performing strikers, Levchenko, Torres, and Morata. I think you must be replying to someone else. Kurt Zuma, Nini, why are we considering selling Zuma and Mitchell when they are a good fit for Sarri? Well, that's currently at this moment in time. As we know, things happen, changing in football. What if Sarri sees something in particular he likes? I do know that Sarri does like Zuma, but again, until this managerial situation is really finalised, that's when I can start getting much more acute information in regards to, every player's future. I mean, I am hearing some things, which I know can definitely change, for example. But with Zuma, from what I'm hearing so far, there's a possibility that he could be getting sold. I'm hearing that Marseille are interested in looking into him. And I'm hearing that if it's a decent enough bid, Chelsea could potentially be putting on a buyback clause on Zuma. Shay Thompson, Chelsea aims for the upcoming season. I think we need to win the Europa League without a doubt, and obviously compete for the league. And if we can get another cup competition on top of that, that would be great. Other questions to ask. You guys, I'm going to be on for 15 more minutes, so not going to be too long. I'll check super chats. I don't think no one sent nothing. No one has. Wait. Like I'm saying, you guys, if anyone wants any question prioritized, because I won't be able to answer everyone's question, you can send a super chat. Nothing too crazy or big. But yeah, just don't feel annoyed if I don't see your question. Aka Wetman Spencer Nini. News came out today that Asensio wants to come to Chelsea because he's not getting enough game time. I wouldn't say that's news, and of course, you know, obviously you guys, I do see everything that's happening. I do get a lot of tweets on Twitter, people linking me articles. Of course, I've seen it already, but again, this Asensio came from Diaro. What were they called? Diario Goal or something like that. I mean, I'm going to talk about that in tomorrow's video, but I mean, you'll know what my reaction is going to be. I mean, it is really a non-story, to be honest. There is no context to it at all. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be worrying about that too much, to be honest. William Bowes, with all the money that Chelsea has got, I'm an Exeter City fan, and Chelsea paid a small price for one of our players this season, and Pardew. Chelsea is loaded, and Smiths pay a small pixie lot. Yeah, of course. I mean, again, when it comes to this type of business, I don't morally agree with it all the time. I do think there should be maybe greater protections for clubs, but you know, if you're producing an Ethan and Party, you need to be compensated fairly. I think that too often, you know, clubs can circumvent paying the full prices for players. That happens way too much. There could be greater protections and laws to stop that from happening, because it's not as if a club can't afford to pay. Let's say Ampadu costs 5 million. It's not as if we can't afford to pay that. Okay, what other questions? Grant Icarus, do you see any of our youth or loan boys heading to Derby with Frank and Jody? I mean, there has to be some players going there. I wouldn't be surprised if Dujon Sterling went to Derby. Maybe even a Jay De Silva. I don't want to see guys like Hudson-Odoi or Mason Mount going to Derby. I don't think they're going to learn anything doing that. But at the same time, who knows? Let's say you've got a few of these guys playing consistently under Jody Morris and Lampard. Let's say they do get promoted and they are in the Premier League. But even then, you can't have those four. You can only have one player on loan. So again, there's no real benefit really for these guys to go to Derby. I wouldn't be surprised if guys like Dujon Sterling, maybe Lewis Baker, maybe Lampard. I mean, working under Lampard's could be, you know, it could definitely get you thinking, I guess. Other questions, you guys? I'm on for 12 more minutes before I'm gone. Adam Thompson, is Gelson Martins an option if he terminates his contract? I think so. I mean, let's say let's say both Willian and Pedro left. I think he's one of those players that could compete for first team players. Could be definitely a good option to have from the bench as well. Provide something different at that type of direct threat. Yeah, he'd be interesting, especially when these guys are free to. It does make them even more attractive, in my opinion. Other questions. Football Chelsea, could Ross Barkley fit in a Sarri system? Can you see him being here next season? I wouldn't be surprised if he was sold in January. I really don't see the point of Barkley at all whatsoever. But it'll be interesting. Of course, Barkley does attack the spaces. Sarri does like his midfielders to have that. Maybe Barkley could be our own version of Zielinski. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. I mean, he could have a role, potentially, based on how he likes to play and how Sarri likes his midfield to play as well. And this is what I mean. It really just negates the point even further of needing Zielinski. I mean, it just really defeats the whole point. Who knows? Maybe Barkley could be an option. I think that's basing on, just basing it on how Barkley plays and and how Sarri likes his midfield to play, they do kind of complement each other a bit. Okay. Sam Pez 2018, Boga or Masinda. Boga for me, I still think he is the best youth player I have seen at Chelsea. Tenacious, any updates on Surrey? Benedict Martin, do you play Football Manager? I used to a lot. The last one I had was Football Manager 2016. Obviously, I used to do bits there. Obviously, my tactics were on point. Obviously, I use all the Chelsea youth players. Jadon Silva became like a England international at 19. Boga won Player of the Year in his last season. French international. The only one that didn't... Ruben Loftus-Cheek did bits, then Barca signed him. Masunda was the only one that didn't fulfill his potential because he got injured all the time, so I was unlucky with that. But yeah, obviously, yeah, I used to do bits. Okay. Note resting. What about Torre on a free? I mean, it cost. It could be a bit more affordable. Maybe. I'm not even too sure, to be honest. I think we need to sign those upgrade players in midfields. So because of that, I don't think Torre isn't needed because we have a lot of squad depth midfielders. We need to sign those big boy midfield players that are going to be guaranteed first team starters. I think when you combine that with the fact that we have a lot of squad depth, I don't really think we need to waste attentions with Yaya Toure. Okay, Nutriman. Hudson-Odoi should be given a chance next season. Yeah, I do agree with that. I definitely think that, we got to... It's been... we've made this mistake too many times, We let our best players go, and then there's no real guarantee or safety net for them. They need to change their strategy at Chelsea. If you're one of the elite youngsters in the loan system, in my opinion, you need to be with the first team. If you imagine he gets 20 games mostly as a sub, let him prove that he can be the the squad backup you can rely on, and then he can just develop his game from there. I don't think loan moves are the way forward unless he's going to a club where he's going to play first team football and they play the right style. But that's so rare in football that it's not really worth the risk. And we've messed up with how many top quality youngsters. I mean, Josh McEachran, Gal Kakuta, Masunda and Boga. I mean, it's gone on and it's gone on. We can't make the third mistake now with Hudson-Odoi. Gregorio Nini. Realistically, would Chelsea actually pay for an Icardi or Lewandowski considering their large buyout clauses? Well, yeah, of course it depends on players leaving to really push through a move like that. Let's say there's a situation where both Morata and Mitchell are sold. That's at least more than 100 million you're getting then. And then you're looking at Chelsea, you're thinking, well, we've got Giroud, we've got Tammy Abrahams, we can recall. Let's invest a lot of money into a top-class, world-class striker. And that should benefit the team much more. Philippe Aaron says, what are the odds that we'll sign Bailey? I'm gonna stop doing odds and stuff now because all this stuff gets used against me. So I'm not gonna be answering odds and stuff like that. Ollie Glanville, Gal Kakuta's treatment killed me. Yeah, it was that treatment. And on top of that, obviously, his whole team as well. They didn't necessarily find him the best clubs either. So it wasn't a win-win situation for anyone. Tutus Prolo Nini, thoughts on the new Real Madrid manager Lopete? If you're Spanish or Spanish speaking, I'm sorry for butchering that name, but of course Lopetegui, that's how I'm going to say it. I know I sound English as hell right now, but definitely a bit of a peculiar one in my opinion. I mean, really the only big job he's had has been FC Porto. Didn't win the league there with them. I know when they got knocked out of the Champions League, I think it was the Bayern. It was a disgraceful second leg performance, and it was just like I think he was there for 2 seasons. A consistent thing of, he'd attack at home and then defend away from home, and that used to cost FC Porto all the time. Most of his jobs have just been coaching the Spanish national team. I mean, he's coached under 19s, under 20s, under 21s, plus the main national team. He hasn't really coached any clubs at all, really. It definitely was an interesting one. Just based on me taking a logical guess, I would say maybe guys like Ramos and Isco, Vasquez, Asensio, they could have played a part. At the same time, too, with the candidates available in the market, there weren't many just yet. Maybe Madrid are thinking tactically, right? You know what? We probably won't win the league next year. Let's not get the expectations of the crowd up. Let's maybe I don't know, sacrifice this year. Blame it on this or that, and then plan for the next season. Yeah, it was definitely a surprise. It definitely was a surprise. Case and Gomez, who are you supporting for the World Cup? I'll be supporting England. But when I look at England, I kind of see England as like London. You know what I mean? Which is kind of weird. So that's how I see England, and that's one of the reasons as to why I'll be supporting. Obviously, Ghana aren't there, so they messed up. But other clubs I'll be looking at, other nations. I'll be looking at Belgium. I'll be looking at Nigeria as well. I'm just hoping that one African team is going to do well, to be honest. Okay, Anto, Nini, why do Brits keep the letter T silent in conversations? Why we don't pronounce our T's all the time? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just how it is. I mean, it sounds kind of forced to any time you got to pronounce the T at the end. It doesn't sound as natural to me. I don't know. But again, I'm from London. I don't know. It's just how city talk, I guess. Blue, Nini, why do you think Neymar has become a better player than Hazard? A couple of years ago, Hazard looked so more talented. Well, it's pretty clear and obvious, and that's the fact that Neymar plays for teams that play attacking football. Hazard hasn't been playing under managers that play attacking football, and that's why. I mean, make this comparison. If Neymar and Hazard swap positions, let's say Hazard was the one that had played at Barca and he's at Paris Saint-Germain. Let's say Neymar was playing under Mourinho and Conte. Do you think that Neymar would have done much better compared to what Hazard's done under those two? Or do you think that Hazard would be doing much worse at Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain? I think, you know what I mean. I think we all know the answer to that one. You guys have got 3 more minutes before I'm going. Like I said, if you want any of your questions prioritized quickly, send a super chat. If not, it's all good. I'm going to look at Patreon real quick. Elijah, yes, man. Thanks for all the effort working your bullocks off for us. Appreciate that, bro. Thank you, Elijah. And thank you for being a Patreon subscriber. Just wanted to know why so many people don't rate Zappacosta. As much as I love Moses, we far too often see attacks and counters killed when he slows the game down. His footballing brain doesn't seem to be on the same. Ooh, I can't agree. Zappa, however, has a good footballing brain. Ooh, definitely don't agree. Runs at left backs at a fast pace and puts in a shift. Ooh, very controversial, Elijah. Feels like he's hard done by considering his lack of game time and is occasionally played on the left. No why man wants to cut back before crossing. Your thoughts? Well, again, this is what I'm in. This is a very, very loaded question, and I think I'm just gonna have to make a video on this because there's a lot of things you have to understand first before we can even start breaking down, Moses and Zappa and what other right backs could do if they were playing at Chelsea. And first thing to remember is the system. I mean, I keep saying this all the time. What support does Moses have on the right hand side? Look on the left hand side. What's one of the main reasons as to why Alonso has the opportunities to get inside the box and he has so much space on the left? That's because Hazard, the guy on the left hand side, cuts inside. He occupies the half space. Half space is the line between the opposition's fullback and the central defender. Of course, when you're in that area, that means either the fullback or the defender has to close them down. But what teams tend to do is just keep very narrow instead to keep their shape. And of course, you get the space then on the left. Moses doesn't get that on the right hand side because there's no one there that's breaking the lines. And there's no one there occupying the half space. Willian does that, but with Willian, he doesn't have a left foot, so he doesn't naturally suit playing on the right hand side. This is why it's not Moses slowing down attacks. All the attacks in general are slow there because there's no off the ball movement. There's no one that can take away defenders the free space on the right as well. And in general, that's why the attacks look slow on the right. It's not because of one particular player. It's just because no one's naturally complementing each other on the right-hand side. he definitely doesn't kill counters or any. I don't think he definitely does have a footballing brain. This is why he doesn't lose the ball in the final third. You know, you can pass it to Moses and he can keep possession, and he can still link up with the midfield. Zappa Costa, on the other hand, can't do that. Zappa is very one-dimensional. He has to rely on his pace a lot. His positioning is not good. This is why we tend to concede a lot of goals whenever he's playing on the right-hand side. His footballing brain isn't good because, again, he loses possession a lot, especially in the final third. When it comes to link-up, just keeping possession, keeping the ball, recycling possession, he can't necessarily do that. All he can do is that direct threat of just running down the lines and hopefully putting it across. And it hasn't come out to too much success as often. He needs to have a bit more. And of course, you know, he's going to struggle more. I mean, if Moses can't even fully play to his best at times, it's no surprise why Zappa Costa would struggle even more. You know, you look at every top team, you need to free up the spaces for your fullbacks to attack and get forward. As we've seen with Napoli, with Gulam, Hazard, as you've seen before with Roma, with Kolarov, Perez, Florenzi, as you've seen with Madrid, with Carvajal, Marcelo, Bayern, with Alaba, and Kimmich on the right-hand side. Kimmich, stupid season he had. I mean, what, 7 goals and like, what, more than 15 assists? That's just stupid. But at the same time, guys like that couldn't get the same stats if they were playing in a Conte system, because the wing-backs, full-backs don't get that same types of freedom at Chelsea under Conte that they would get in other teams. You know what? I know that I'm sorry if I do sound a bit confusing. Of course, the question like that, it does make more sense for a video because it's a very loaded one and there's a lot of things to discuss and understand. But hopefully I did my best at explaining that. Yeah, you guys, I'm gonna answer one more question, and that's from CFC Anuj, and thank you, bro, for sending me the super chat. Your question is, can Hazard be the best ever under Sarri? Yes, as I say a lot on the stream too, you know, imagine Hazard with more touches on the ball. Imagine if Hazard doesn't have to drop back in his own half. He gets to stay in the... Let's imagine Hazard playing closer to goal with more touches of the ball in the opposition half. That says it all. And when you've got that dynamism on the flanks where, you know, Sarri wants his fullbacks to make overlapping runs and stretch the play. I mean, what's one typical goal that Napoli score a lot? And this is and to me, when I see this type of goal, that's when I know that the team synergy is on point. The team knows how to play together. They know how to break teams down as well. And what type of goal am I talking about? We see it all the time at Man City. Simply the cut-back cross inside the box. To create those types of plays where you're able to break down opposition, to just pass the ball across the goal, that's what the elite teams do. And if you realise, at Chelsea, we rarely ever score that type of goal. And it's no surprise to me at all. With Sarri, that's the type of chance creation we'll be having a lot of times. And this is why Hazard's going to have even more joy, because now he can affect the goal even more. He can play closer to, not even play closer, he'll be playing closer to the goal in terms of he'll just be there much more than before because he's going to be touching the ball even more. So I think Hazard and Sarri will just flourish and be an even bigger problem for the league because they won't know how to fully deal with him and close him down. A lot of times teams like to force Hazard out wide, but with how dynamic the system is, with how midfielders will break the lines to support the attacking players and attack the spaces, it's going to be creating a lot of attacking overloads against the opposition. And, you know, a lot of these shit teams in the Premier League, they don't like that type of football. As we've seen with Man City, I mean, it got stupidly easy for them in the end. Their only challenge came from playing against the other top teams. Every other team outside of the top teams was easy for them. No challenge whatsoever. So yeah, it's definitely something to be confident about. But you guys, I'm going to end the stream right now. Obviously, thank you to everyone for sending me the questions. Thank you to everyone that subscribed to Patreon. Thanks to everyone that sent super chats as well. I was going to ask you guys a favor actually. And obviously I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm never going to be someone to lie. Obviously that video I did where I announced that the deal was off with Sarri. Obviously that was a sponsored video I released. Basically, I need to get past 20,000 views if I can, because that way I earn an extra $100. So if anyone wants to do me a favor and back it, in the description of this live stream is a link to that video. If everyone on the live stream, if you just want to help me out, click on that link in the description. And then, yeah, I mean, that will do a massive favor, of course. As I disclosed, I would earn more from the video. I am pretty close to 20,000 as well, so it's not as if I'm very far away. If anyone wants to help me out and help me with that, I'd really appreciate that. And I got one more super chat, CFC Anuj. Got that in there quick. Alfredo. At the same time, is it really news? Because, again, I did that video. Remember when I kept stressing non-verbal, the non-verbal agreement? That means that the terms were already agreed upon. It's just about officially waiting to sign everything. So I don't know if that's fully news, in my opinion. As I said, I've been saying non-verbal agreement so many times. He already agreed what his deal is going to be, what his contract length is going to be as well. I don't know if that's real news, in my opinion. And I'm sure if I clicked on the article, I'm sure it's literally less than a paragraph. So anyway, bro, thank you for sending me that super chat. I do appreciate that. You guys, if you want to back it, in the description below, I beg you guys, just click on that video link just to help me try get I need to get like 2,000 more views and I'm good. Anyone here, just back it. Just back it for Nini. But yeah, you guys, thank you for watching the live stream. I'm going to have some videos out tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the subscriber call-in show. So if you want to be part of that show, send me an email. Looking forward to doing that again. And yeah, I'm gonna bounce you guys. Thank you to everyone. I'm Niiniifc. This is Blue Line TV. Signing out.